Everybody, hope you all are having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about Quinn Ewers and how he was better than you think he was in 2022, and more specifically, talking about he was more accurate than you think he was in 2022. And if you like the video, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then comment down below your thoughts on how accurate Quinn Ewers was in 2022. And am I full of crap? All right, everybody, let's just hop right into it. And yeah, so to give you a rundown of what I'm trying to say here, I think there was a period where Quinn Ewers was injured in 2022, and we're trying to figure out how much that affected his accuracy. And I think I can show you the exact games that it had affected his accuracy. All right, so we're just going to start off here with the good, okay? Quinn Ewers, in games that he was good in, 1,383 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 8.9 yards per attempt, 67.9% completion percentage, 106 completions on 156 attempts. Okay? It was a good season for Quinn Ewers in those games. Now, you go to the 4 games that he played in that are not these games: Oklahoma State, Kansas State, TCU, Kansas. 794 yards, almost half that number, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 5.7 yards per attempt, 4.71% completion percentage, 66 completions on 140 attempts. Now, something might have caught your eye by now, okay? And it's the fact that these numbers are pretty close when you're talking about the attempt numbers. So I think that these are actually very comparable numbers, or stretches of the season. One is a 6-game stretch over here, okay? And the other is a 4-game stretch. But if you look at the actual attempt numbers down here at the bottom, they're very, very similar. I mean, I believe it's like 88%. 140 is 88% of 156, okay? That's off the top of my head. I've looked at a calculator in the past, just going off memory. But, so you can compare these. This isn't a thing where the sample size on the games with Oklahoma State through Kansas is far smaller than the sample size that we saw from Quinn Ewers in these other games. There's a clear difference in his ability to throw the football in these games. What does that matter? I think Quinn Ewers was injured versus Oklahoma State. If you remember, there was the talk of the fingernail stuff, okay? He was wearing a glove throwing before the game. I do remember it was like watching the game. It was like, okay, Spencer Sanders is able to complete passes with this high wind. And if it's high wind that's consistent and the wind is not changing, you should be able to adjust to the wind. And looking at it, I mean, that's a clear difference. That is a huge difference. And even if you point out, hey, Nash, Quinn wasn't good versus Baylor. You know what? I agree. Quinn was not good versus Baylor, but he was just accurate. Okay? If you go and you remove that, that actually goes and it makes it a perfect comparison when you're talking about comparing Quinn's good season versus the bad season. You look at that. That is a dead-on comparison when you're talking about the attempts. That's 5 games to 4 games. And the numbers when you're talking about Quinn Ewers and the 5-game stretch for moving out that Baylor game, the numbers don't change that much. Still 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 8.9 yards per attempt drops to 8.5. 6.79 completion percentage goes to 6.71. I mean, the numbers are still good. Quinn Ewers in that game versus Baylor was accurate, but at the end of the day, we took the ball out of his hands for the entire fourth quarter, put it in Bijan and Roschon Johnson's hands, and said, hey, go win us this game, please. Please. Thank you very much. Now, so you're probably saying, okay, Nash, what's your point here? Okay? And my point is that Quinn Ewers was far more accurate. He would have had a far better season had he not had what I think was an injury versus Oklahoma State. Steve Sarkisian is notorious for not getting us the full injury report, like letting us know exactly. Like, it is a gamesmanship thing for him. And I believe that played part into what we saw with Quinn Ewers and his struggles. And not to say that Steve Sarkisian, having gamesmanship caused Quinn Ewers to struggle, but that we were not aware of the full extent of the injury, whatever it was. There are people that say, like, the thumb, the fingernails, all that stuff, and it would be crazy if Texas had the back-to-back seasons where we got Casey Thompson's thumb, we got the Quinn Ewers fingernail, but there was a clear stretch where whatever it was bothering Quinn Ewers and made him a completely different quarterback. I mean, looking at this, I don't see how you could even possibly get to a scenario where you say, you know what, Nash, you're full of crap. There's not a clear difference. There's no clear difference because that tells me a story. That tells a story of that there was. It's pretty loud. I mean, literally, it's almost the same exact sample size, and one has half the yardage almost. It is crazy. Two completely different quarterbacks, and also it's not like I just cherry picked. Okay, this is the most important thing about this. I did not just go and cherry pick out games. There is a stretch of games, 4 games, and if you want to consider Baylor in there, fine, go ahead and do it. He didn't have a great game, okay? Changes the numbers a little bit, but I'll tell you right now, it doesn't change them that much. And so what if we had Quinn Ewers healthy, okay? Let's just ask that. Hypothetical. What if we get Quinn Ewers healthy, and this is counting for no injury versus Alabama as well, okay? We're assuming he gets a couple more touchdowns, we're assuming he gets 3 touchdowns versus Alabama. We're assuming he throws another interception, so he's 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Has a nice day versus Alabama. Okay, that's what we're considering from that game. He's on pace for 3,123 yards, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 8.9 yards per attempt. 67.9% completion percentage. Obviously, yards per attempt and completion percentage, if we're going off the stretch that was healthy, and just hypothetically saying, hey, what does the season look like if we see a full Quinn Ewers from that stretch? This is the season. That's the season right there. That's what we missed out on if Quinn Ewers was healthy. From the games that we saw that he was healthy in, this is how accurate he is as a quarterback. This is what his total body of work would have been had we not seen that stretch where I think he was injured. Okay? Compare that to some of the Texas freshman quarterbacks. Now this is his stats as they were. No adjustment whatsoever. 296 yards, 172 completions, 58.1% completion percentage, 2,177 yards. 7.4 yards per attempt. I'm not just going to sit here and read off everything that you can read. Now, here's the other thing. You go and you look at the... it's the 8.9, 5.7. The middle is right around 7.4 range, right? Yeah. So, that's what that was, his full body of work. There's the splits. You can probably get a little bit of comparison. So, let's look at some of the Texas freshmen... Let's look at some of the notable Texas freshman quarterbacks, and let's consider Quinn Ewers, his hypothetical season. Okay, so let's say Quinn doesn't get hurt, and we get to see a full season like we did from Vince Young, like we did from Colt McCoy. Okay, Quinn Ewers attempts 354 passes, 200. I've already read these stats to you, but you can see he has a higher yards per attempt than Colt McCoy and Vince Young. More yards. A lower completion percentage than Colt McCoy, but it's right there. More completions. A higher quarterback rating than Colt McCoy, 162.3. This is... Quinn Ewers, we were robbed of a pretty good freshman season with that injury, if you look at it. And then if you want to go and say, okay, well, Nash, let's compare him to some notable freshman quarterbacks right here, okay? Trevor Lawrence in 2018. And the quarterback rating for Quinn Ewers is slightly off. That's actually, that rating is what I calculated if we did not add in the Alabama game, which is pretty good. Uh, yeah, Quinn Ewers. I mean, you look at this. He's like, this was a very good quarterback that we had. There's two tails. There are two tails to 2022 for Quinn Ewers, okay? There's a quarterback that is on the level of Trevor Lawrence, Kellen Moore, Sam Bradford, Colt McCoy, okay? Like, I think that's pretty good air to put yourself into, okay? When you're talking statistics and the ability to throw a football accurately. Those are some very nice names to have your freshman season stand right next to. Does his freshman season stand right next to that? No, it doesn't. But when you consider his healthy games that he was healthy in, it does. It was certainly at least on pace to stand up next to those great names that we saw. So, my expectations for Quinn Ewers, as you should probably know by now, they are very, very high. Because if he doesn't get injured, I think that if you add in his ability to, make checks at the line of scrimmage to audible plays, he was operating at a very limited capacity in his true freshman year. It was hey, you're throwing to this read if it's open. And if it's not open, you go to the next one. And like it was, you have a play call. This is the play call we're running. Go run it. No changing it at the line of scrimmage. Nothing. And I almost forgot to say this because this is the point that I wanted to say, that this gives me the most hope for Quinn Ewers. You look at these numbers, okay? These numbers, this number, whatever number you want to look at, whether it's this, that, any of these numbers, this is all without the long ball. This is all without the deep ball. I mean, if you add the deep ball, Quinn Ewers blows these numbers out of the water. Blows them out of the water, okay? So, there's a chance that we have Quinn Ewers go from, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Get the mullet out of here. We want Arch Manning. Yeah, go Arch. Woo! That's Texas fans the last 3 months. Quinn cuts his hair. Wait a second now, Quinn. You're back, baby? You're back? I mean, Quinn went from the prodigal son that could do no wrong whatsoever to, let's face it, he was being treated exactly like Hudson Card was. Hudson Card and Shane Buechele. But I think we're going to have one heck of a year from Quinn Ewers if he stays healthy. And these wide receivers, Worthy, Nayor, Whittington, A.D. Mitchell, Cook, Brennan Thompson. I mean, you just keep on. I'm missing names. DeAndre Moore, Casey Kane. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. There's just too many of y'all. Okay, JT Sanders. Yeah, this year going to be a great year if Quinn Ewers is healthy and able to deliver the ball accurately like I think he can. Hope you all have a great day. Hook 'em.